Hey, what's up, everybody? No audio. Guess who told me? My girlfriend. They're watching. She's watching downstairs with my son and my daughter. So, yeah. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Sir Holmes Reviews. My name is Mark. And like I just mentioned, there was 50 people waiting before we started. What is up, everybody in the chat? I also said that I did a live stream with Robert from In Deep Geek. We did that just a couple hours ago, and we talked about literally everything. So go watch that. It's a few hours after you watch this, of course. Thank you for tuning in. Sorry for the first couple of minutes of silence. I didn't even turn my mic on. I had my mic turned off. That's how excited I was. But I also mentioned that I think some of the criticism for this episode will be that it was a bit slower paced. But when you read the books, when you eat the books, it gets so much better. I don't know how to put it other than that. It gets better. So to start out with, I'm gonna run through my notes. I'm gonna say what's up to everybody in the chat here too in a couple minutes after I run through my notes. But I used to do this before all my live streams. I want to start doing it again. Right. So these are just my initial thoughts, and then we're going to discuss the trailer for episode 5. And also, I hate doing stuff like this. Please slap a like on this video, subscribe, and turn your notifications on. And if that's all you can do, that is fucking perfect. But check this out. My internet's going to be shut off tomorrow. So if anybody wants to donate tonight, instead of doing super chats, because YouTube taxes those and I don't get them until we get paid for YouTube, which will be in October for this month. So check out a PayPal link only if you're thinking about donating. And I'm just saying that now, and I'll try to say it again because my internet will literally be shut off tomorrow if I don't pay my bill, and I won't be able to upload for the rest of the week. And I know that sounds crazy, but that's what it is. I'm gonna try to upload from my phone tonight. If you don't see an upload from me tonight breaking down episode 5, it's because my internet was shut off, and it's because I didn't pay it, but it's because I have more important things, more pressing things that I had to pay for. And this YouTube is my only source of income. But yeah, only if you're considering doing that. Anyway, so my notes, right? We got the Bracken and the Blackwood duel, which literally happened in the books. Our boy from House Blackwood slayed someone who was clearly like 5 years older in the duel. It was nuts. It was I mean, I kind of knew Rhaenyra was on a progress, but I was hoping we'd get to see more of the kingdom. She was in Storm's End, which, if you're unaware, that is the seat of House Baratheon. But before that, it's the seat of House Durrandon. They're the Storm Kings of old, right? House Baratheon takes over and marries into House Durrandon on the female line. So Orys Baratheon, supposedly Aegon the Conqueror's brother, marries into House Durrandon, right? And they settle at Storm's End. And Storm's End is this castle. It's one of the best castles in all of Westeros because it was built multiple times, and ultimately it was built to withstand the worst storms ever, right? So it's in right outside of it. There's this place called Shipbreaker Bay, and it's called that because most ships that come ashore there tear apart because the storms in that area are nuts. And some of the lore behind that is that it's called A Song of Ice and Fire, right? The books are called A Song of Ice and Fire. So in short, each element has a god, right? So we have a fire god, probably linked to the Targaryens. We have an ice god linked to the Starks and the old god in the north, right? And then there's a storm god. The storm god is linked to the Stormlanders, and so many people in the Stormlands can claim descent from the Storm Kings because House Durrandon was like fucking everybody, right? So that's where Rhaenyra is at the beginning of the episode. We get to see the Bracken and the Blackwood duel. Second thing, Damon comes back. This scene happens at a tourney in the books, and Damon hops off Caraxes and kneels and hands his crown to the king. Really dramatic. The way the show did it was just as effective, because if you're just casually watching the show and you don't know the books, you think like, yo, is Damon about to try to kill the king? So the intensity is there. And even if you have read the books, it doesn't happen that way. So you're kind of like on your toes, right? We're trying to figure out, how is the king going to handle this situation? There's a lot of eyes on him. He could make a move that would make him look weak or embarrass his brother, or both, right? So he handled it pretty well. And then we also have Rhaenyra and Alicent having a coming together moment, right? So they, initially obviously are best friends, right? Then she marries Rhaenyra's dad, so then they aren't best friends, right? But then after that, we have Damon and Rhaenyra talking in Velaryon about how important it is to have heirs, and that is a solid 4 minutes of Velaryon. It's amazing. We're getting all these new, not just Velaryon glyphs, which I'm going to talk about here in a second, but we're getting all these new Velaryon words for this TV show, which is amazing. Then we have the small council meeting with basically Lena being, told the King Viserys and the small council being told Lena's going to be married to a Sea Lord of Bravos, which will come back up. There's a reason why that's mentioned. And the reason why is because when Damon marries Lena when she's older, so Damon's on his way to the Vale. We saw that in the episode 5 teaser. But Damon ends up marrying Lena, the daughter of Corlys, and he does this, and we've actually seen this in the teaser too. Damon kills that Sea Lord of Bravos because basically the son of the Sea Lord of Bravos, the guy who's betrothed to Lena, the little girl that we saw talking to the king in episode 2, right? She had the big wig, right? Her betrothed, his father has a bunch of money. He's a Sea Lord of Bravos. Bravos is that place where Arya goes in Game of Thrones season 5, if you're unaware. And she learns how to become a faceless man, right? So Lena's betrothed is a son of someone who's in charge of pretty much all of Bravos, right? A Sea Lord. And what ends up happening is the Sea Lord dies, and the son, the guy who's betrothed to Lena, squanders all of their money and all of their fortune. And Damon kills this dude in a duel. So that's why that's mentioned in that scene at the small council, right? And I'm going to say what's up to the chat here, too. I just want to get this stuff out because I feel like there's probably people that want to watch my thoughts in a reaction, and it's called a reaction. So I just thought, and then we have immediately Rhaenyra going to her room to find the note that is written in Velaryon. That's those glyphs that I'm talking about. And they literally look exactly like the art that we have of Euron's mongrel blowing the horned dragon binder, right? So the dude, I just talked about this in one of my recent videos. The Euron at the King's Moot, to prove how badass he is and how awesome his stuff is. He's got cool things. Euron's got cool stuff. He has this dude blow this 6-foot long horn, which is supposedly tames dragons. And we find out through Victarion's POV, through this dude named Makoro, that horn is called Dragonbinder, and that anyone who blows it will be able, the owner of the horn will be able to control dragons, but it must be earned through blood. So Victarion basically figures out, hey, in order for me to actually use this horn to bind dragons to my wheel, because Daenerys is still over in Essos. Ultimately, Victarion was sent from the King's Moot to go and find Daenerys, right? So Victarion is causing havoc. He's being a badass. He's my favorite Greyjoy, and I know I talk shit about the Greyjoys, how they're rapers and reavers, but Victarion is the man. He's literally the man. One of my favorite POV chapters to read, and he's only got 3 POVs, right? So he's causing havoc, and he finds this dude Makoro, who's a fire priest, who's on his way to go see Daenerys anyway. So Makoro is at in the ocean, and this is really important because Makoro is in the ocean for so long. Anybody else would have died, but Makoro didn't. He's a fire priest. He has tattoos on his face that dance and change colors. Really badass. He also has a staff with a dragon head on it that shoots out green flames, completely cut from the Game of Thrones TV show. I don't know why, because he was also a black man, and Game of Thrones got criticized for not having enough black characters. But anyway, this dude, Makoro, tells him, hey, these are Velaryon glyphs. I am Dragonbinder, is what he says, right? Those Velaryon glyphs are making a huge presence on House of the Dragon. It's amazing. Ryan Condal knows these books so well. I wouldn't be surprised if he's got a screen name, and he's really popular in the Game of Thrones YouTube community. He might even be in the chat right now. Ryan Condal. How do you say your last name? Is it Condal or Condal or Condell? I don't know. Me and Robert from In Deep Geek. Shout out to Robert from In Deep Geek. We were trying to figure out how to say his name, but yeah. Oh yeah, also shout out to Ray. Me and Ray's the Alba did a live stream last week. I don't know if he's gonna do a video or he's gonna start making videos on his channel again. But I just saw this. That reminds me, and I'm about to give a shout out to the chat too, and then go back to my notes. Thank you, Dennis, for that. Yeah, my internet literally, Sir Hunts. I think what'll happen is I'll be able to make the video on my computer, then airdrop it to myself, but then have to upload it from my phone if I can't pay my internet bill. But I kind of thought of that as I was saying it. But if you want to send super chats tonight, I don't ask for it. If you can just subscribe, slap a like, and then turn notifications on, right? If you can do that, that's perfect. Thank you for doing that, and thank you for watching. But if you're considering giving super chats, please check out my PayPal link. It's linked down below in the description, and I get access to that right away. That's why I'm saying to do PayPal, because when you do a super chat, YouTube takes 40% of it, and then I don't get that revenue until next month. So that's the only reason why I'm saying the PayPal thing. But thank you, Dennis, for reminding me that. Speaking of which, let's give shout outs to everybody in the chat. Shout out to Wex is a secret targ, the Bio Explorer, Breanne Johnson, Dennis Sorensen, Titan of Bravos, Uncover the News, Dawn Marie, Bridget Scott, Madeline Gerber, M3 Kimmy 1, Sip, anybody? Georgie, Heart of Inspiration, DJ KLY242, K3G92, what's up? Carolina Barahana, Janet Dudding, Zeus Bimnet, Unica Luckett, Bo Mulder, Wex is a secret. I did that first, right? Emily Johnson, Sweet Treats 2 Basket Case, Marcellus Borelli, Aphrodite's Asmondian, Just Kareem, Roman Gonzalez, Dawn Marie, Nikki Petendis, Charlie, Martin Smallwood, Sword of the Morning, Nino Shaun 3, Orlando Patterson, D-Boy, Brian Thrasher, Roman Gonzalez, Renata of Philly. Shout out Philly. What up, Philly? Alicia Colep, Kevin Wheezy, and I think I got everybody that's typing right now. Frenchy, what's up? That's a patron of mine. I think Lindsay Crawford. I think I got everybody. All right, cool. Thank you all for watching. All right, so getting back to my notes here. Also, please, if you're just tuning in, slap a like on this video, on this live stream. All right, so where were we? I had only gotten through like the first 7, and I have 24. Oh, yes. Rhaenyra finds the backpack. I swear to God, that's why I'm always late to starting these. There's certain scenes that I have to keep hitting the 15 seconds to go back and rewatch. I thought there was something out of place in her room, right? When she walked over to get the page boy clothes. Speaking of which, totally in fashion with Westeros for that time period, because I'm saying that because in the teaser trailer, she looked like she was like a modern day hipster on her way to Burning Man or some shit. It was crazy, but no, the clothes were totally appropriate. But anyway, I thought something was out of place in her room that made her go, why was this bag over here? But there wasn't. So Damon, I feel like Damon does stuff like this and has been doing shit like this for a while. Maybe it's the first time he actually has her sneak out, right? Because there's literally a map written by Damon of how to maneuver through Rhaenyra's chambers, which, if you're unaware, on a side tangent with the books, right? In the Tower of the Hand, which is inside Maegor's Holdfast, which is inside the Red Keep, which was built by Aegon the Conqueror. Maegor's Holdfast is a castle within a castle. The Tower of the Hand is a stand-alone thing that's in that, right? Cersei blows it up with wildfire in the books. But Maegor is crazy, okay? Maegor the Cruel had secret passages built into the walls and underneath King's Landing. The tunnels lead all the way out of King's Landing, as we saw tonight, into the streets, and then also out of the city. They lead to certain brothels. They go from the Tower of the Hand to secret locations that we saw. Remember in season 1 of Game of Thrones, Arya is next to Velaryon's skull. She is eavesdropping on Illyrio Mopatis and Varys. It kind of happens like that in the books. When she goes back and tells Ned about it, he doesn't believe her. So it's very similar, right? Ultimately, Arya's interactions underneath the streets of King's Landing are because she's chasing a cat under there. And then also she sees it's way more of a frightening experience because there's a lot more dragon skulls, and the dragon skulls look different, right? So in the books, they're like how House of the Dragon did it, which is these black iron skulls. And the reason why dragon skulls are black like that is because of the iron content in them. So there's a lot of like metal in dragon bones. So Blair and the Black Dread was really old, right? So he had that massive skull. So Arya fit into it and it was white. But I think that's just like a continuity error that they fixed in House of the Dragon. So those tunnels that we saw in the main Game of Thrones show, Rhaenyra gets a map, and it's written in Velaryon, which she can read and write and speak fluently, and I'm jealous, and I'm going to have to learn how to do it myself. I promise you. I'm going to have to do it myself. I'm going to be speaking fluent. I can already speak it pretty well, but anyway, she goes out. She meets our Damon. They go to a few different places. I still can't get over the Valyrian glyphs. I'm so happy. Oh, man, we're going to see my theory is correct that the old tongue is just Valyrian. It's a different form of Valyrian. All right. And then Ray sneaks out to meet Damon. And one of the things that I noticed was that she sees the eyeless lady, right? She says, "Do you want to know how you'll die?" And then we see a dragon breathe fire. And spoiler alert, but not really, Rhaenyra dies by a dragon. Her brother, Aegon, as they call her with their English accents, but I call him Aegon because it just sounds cooler. But Aegon makes more sense because Egg is the nickname of Aegon the Unlikely. So it makes sense. Whatever, English people pronounce it correctly, and we have accents. And the way they say it is the correct way, right? I don't know. But yeah, so Aegon has his dragon Sunfire kill Rhaenyra, and that's literally what they just said it when we saw the eyeless lady in the streets. And Rhaenyra's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" She doesn't actually say that, but like she basically has our reaction, which is, "Holy fuck, where are your eyes at, lady?" And the lady goes, "Want to know your fortune?" And I think that might actually be a woods witch, and that lady may have genuinely saw Rhaenyra getting eaten by Sunfire. And guess what? That was spoiled by Joffrey. So not only is Joffrey a literal cunt, but also Joffrey is an actual cunt because he ruined the ending of this show. Don't get mad at Sir Hunts. Get mad at Joffrey. One more reason to be mad at Joffrey. And then after that, we have sex for like 35 fucking minutes. What's up with that? What's up with that? That was crazy. And it's crazy to me because people will say, "Hey, can you not curse so much in your videos?" And I respect that, but also, like, are we watching the same show? We saw a dude's penis get cut off in the first episode, and this show has made me use curse words more creatively. So if anything, I don't know. No sound? Again? Is there sound? Can y'all hear me? Is there sound? Or am I looking at it? Oh, I'm looking at an old comment. I was about to say, oh my God, did I just do 20 minutes of no sound? No, there's sound, right? Someone type in the chat if there's sound. Okay, cool. All right, awesome. Sorry about that. I was about to be so sad. There's no way I could have reiterated everything I just said. The first minute, I think I did, but yeah. Then after we get, Rhaenyra sneaking out to meet her uncle, we get the Viserys being bathed by Rhaenyra, which is actually really I'm sorry. Yes, Rhaenyra bathed her father. Alicent bathed Viserys, and I wanted to point that out because it's obviously we saw her being like forcefully laid to bed. Like obviously she didn't really. She's like, "Who is it?" And the servant comes in like, "Yo, the king wants you to come do your wife duties," right? She obviously doesn't want to do that, but she seemingly enjoys spending time with her children and then also giving the king a bath because, it's a very intimate scene. What do you all think in the chat? Do y'all like that? Not like, do you like the scene, but what do you think of that? And then we have Rhaenyra seeing the play about the heirs of thrones. I can't wait to see all the memes that are made for that, because she literally goes, slander! Shut up, you're lying! Like, that was hilarious. That was so funny. And then the people actually doing the plays, Damon is basically teaching her what the small folk are like, what they're saying, and what her responsibility and what her duty is. Like, obviously, he turns her on and then runs away, and that's like literally what happens in the books. And then it's funny because she literally bumps and falls into the arms of Harwin, and some people theorize that that was the first time she fell into the arms of Harwin, right? But that's not what happened. Obviously, she slept with Kristen Cole, and it was a very romantic scene, and it was done very tastefully. And I'm sure there were a lot of people that like to see Kristen Cole's butt, right? We did see a chick for the first time in a brothel scene bust everything open. I had to stop and pause, and it's blurred, and the actress is wearing a merkin, but I'm pretty sure we saw butthole again. So this will be second time we saw butthole. Yeah, it was pretty funny. The dick rope thing, the rope dick, that was hilarious. The rope dildo dick thing. Rhaenyra took people making fun of her family pretty well. Like, she did like catcall and stuff and like heckle, but for the most part, Damon, I expected, would be the one to say something. But no, he's like, yeah, I do this all the time. Damon showed us Prince of the City. I don't know if they did it on purpose or not, but Matt Smith is even more intense when he doesn't say anything. When Damon's just like, when he does that, it's even more intense. So his presence is even stronger. I hope they keep that up. And I hope all the way to the end, when he fights Aemon One Eye, right? In the battle above the gods, I hope that same intensity is kept. And he's just like, are we going to do this? Are we doing this? Like, oh man, that'd be, there's so many crazy scenes we have to looking forward to. And then we see Damon and Rhaenyra like run in the streets, right? And then Rhaenyra runs into Harwin, and then Harwin's like, you're lucky, boy. Like, he's basically like, I'll keep your secret kind of thing. And the reason why, not just because like some people say this, when she fell into the arms of Harwin, right? When Kristen turned her down, when she was turned on by Damon, when she was taught how to pleasure a man, right? In the books, that's gonna lead into her having more of an affair, or I'm sorry, not enough. Well, yeah, I guess it is. Yeah. Right. All of her children are supposedly Harwin, that guy who she bumped into. All of them are his kids. So the fact that he's like, yeah, I'll keep your secret, probably when Kristen becomes scorned by her and goes to side with Alicent, again, not a spoiler because we see that in the trailer, when Alicent gets older, Kristen Cole is her protector, right? When we see that, Harwin is probably like, no, I'll keep your secret. We can have sex. Like, that's what Damon taught her. Damon taught her that even though your duty is to marry someone, you can still kind of fuck who you want to. Like, you can still have sex with whoever you want to, even though you have to make heirs for the realm with this person. You can still kind of live your own life just in secret, right? And not even really in secret. It's kind of crazy that the two heirs are just like openly having sex in a whorehouse, and they're so nonchalant. It shows you how strong House Targaryen and the dragon is right now, because they can reveal their hair like it's nothing. Like, obviously the little kid working for Mysaria went back and told Sir Otto, but the fact that they can kind of sit in a brothel and just do the do is nuts. I would like Targaryens. I'm so used to Targaryens having to hide who they are, and also, not have as much power as they do. So that was kind of crazy to see. It was more crazy for me to see them being so open about who they were in that place than it was for me to see them actually doing it like that. I was like, this is nuts. Yeah, and then we see Alicent summoned to basically suck the king. And then we have the Valyrian glyph strippers. The Valyrian glyphs were on the strippers. That's nuts. So remember how I was just talking about how we saw a butthole for the second time? And we didn't actually see pussy because there's a merc in there, right? We didn't see vagina. We didn't see the good stuff. But they had Valyrian glyphs, which is almost just as good. I'm going to find a way to translate those eventually by the end of this season or after the end of this season. I'm going to take what Makoro says, I am Dragonbinder, and realize that he mentions that that's the first band of gold on the horn, and then look at officially commissioned art and then try to link the symbols with the words "I am Dragonbinder" and try to look for any similar shapes or anything on the whore's bodies or on the note that Damon left for Rhaenyra. I can't wait. It's going to be really fun. And then we have dragon style fucking, well, almost Damon dick teases, and then Rhaenyra runs back. The little boy follows her, and then Cole sees her, comes back, and she seduces him. And I will say that holy crap, if we don't get every single one of these actors and actresses winning Emmys, I wanted to cry when I saw the tears in her eyes. She's like, man, my uncle did some fucked up shit. Right? That was crazy. And then she just like, Cole was like, I bet you that was Cole's first time too. I bet you it was. And then we have Damon getting set up by Mysaria, which will be interesting because Mysaria doesn't betray Damon like that. Like, she's gonna ultimately play a hand in Blood and Cheese. And we know that's gonna be like the opening for season 2. And then also, oh no, she does betray Damon when she tells Rhaenyra that Damon is sleeping with Nettles. But you could argue that it's not really a betrayal because Rhaenyra goes, let Prince Damon slake his lust where he wants to. I will slake mine where I want to. And for her, it's eating. She starts eating. She gets chunky. So Mysaria is just kind of, I don't really like her at all. At first, I was like, her accent's weird, and it's kind of hard to watch scenes with her because her accent is weird. But now it's like, oh, no, I don't like your character. I don't like your character, Mysaria. And I don't think a lot of people will like her after the Blood and Cheese scene because she plays a direct hand in that. Her death is crazy. Basically, what Cersei talks about happening to her grandfather's girlfriend when Tywin takes over after Tywin's father, Tytos, dies. Basically, Tywin's father's girlfriend, after his mother dies, wears their mother's jewelry and stuff. And remember, the Reigns of Castamere, everybody knows that, right? House Lannister at that time was perceived as weak. And Tywin's father was called the Laughing Lion, because everybody was always talking shit about him, and he would never do anything but just laugh. So Tywin hates people who smile and all that stuff. And what was I just talking about? How did I get to talking about the Lannisters? I don't even remember. I'm tired. I'm tired. What was I just talking about? Oh, Mysaria? But how did I get to the Lannisters? White Worm's death. Okay, thank you. Basically, she's walked through the streets naked of Lannisport, and she's like Tywin's dad's girlfriend. After Tywin's dad dies, Tywin forces her to walk through the streets, right? And then the same thing happens to Cersei. Cersei thinks about it, right? She, in her POV, in A Feast for Crows, she thinks about what happened to her father or her grandfather's girlfriend, right? How she thinks about how stern of a person Tywin is all the time. And one of those cornerstones is the things that he did to the Castameres and also her grandfather's girlfriend, right? Or her grandsire on the show. So the same thing happens to Cersei, and then also Mysaria's fate is very similar. Without giving away every single detail that happens to her death, she's forced to walk through the streets of King's Landing, and people throw rocks at her. And if she's able to make it to a certain point, she'll be able to live, but she doesn't make it to a certain point because a big rock hits her in the head, and she's naked. And didn't I just reveal every single detail of her death and say that I wasn't? I'm tired. All right. So then after that, we have oh yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Mysaria poisoned Damon. she definitely poisoned Damon. That's why he's so groggy and out of it. And I don't know what poison she used, but it wasn't a serious one. But that's why Viserys, I mean, he could have been really drunk, but I'm sure he parties like that all the time. Or maybe not, because he's been away at war for so long. Y'all think Mysaria poisoned Damon a little bit to make him unawares of, and just unprepared for the situation for when he goes to see the king? It kind of felt like he was, or he could have just been really hungover. I stopped drinking like 2 or 3 years ago, so I kind of forgot, actually longer than that. But I kind of forgot what it's like to be hungover, so maybe he was just hungover. Damon ends up getting dragged in front of the king and assaulted because he is slightly poisoned, so the king put the knife to his throat and yells and banished him. And they have the conversation about marrying, which is like Damon is once again right. I had this whole rant in Indie Geeks live stream that we did earlier, the pregame, where I talked about how Damon is always right, and I'm gonna make a video about that. I've been working on the video for like the past 3 weeks. I just keep putting it off because I'm focusing on episode based stuff. But also, like I said, let me say this again. My internet will literally be shut off like tonight at midnight, I'm assuming, or sometime probably before I wake up. So I'm going to keep working through the night to make the video like I always do. But if it doesn't get uploaded, it's because my internet got shut off. And it's because I haven't gotten to pay it. And I was going to pay it on Friday. So if anybody is watching right now and wants to get super chats, please consider instead of sending it through YouTube, because YouTube not only delays it a month, but they also take like 35% of it. The PayPal thing is available like right away. So if you do that, that's linked down below in the description. It only if you want to. But yeah, like I said, otherwise I'm going to have to try to upload it through my phone, and the videos are like 20 minutes and it's a big video because it's like a lot of clips and stuff. So it would take a really long time to upload that. And the only reason why I say that is because, like I said, usually people do want to give super chats, but I just would like to. All right, let me continue on. I'm getting too sidetracked, and I'm about to check the chat here in a second to take some questions from everybody. So after Damon is dragged in front of the king, and he's like kicked in the stomach, and the king pulls his knife on his neck, and Damon is like obviously subdued, right? He's sent back to the Vale, and we've seen pictures of his wife, right? We know she's basically a goat or a sheep, rather. But not to worry, we're probably only going to see her once, and then she's ultimately going to die because Damon is going to marry Lena, and it's probably going to happen after, get this, Damon comes back. Damon's going to go back to King's Landing unless this wedding happens at Driftmark or High Tide, but Damon was just banished to the Vale, but he's going to, I think in the book, in Fire and Blood, he goes back to the Stepstones, if I'm not mistaken, but like things are switched up. But it's still, everything's still like a direct translation from the books. They just switch up the timeline a little bit and they make it a little bit more linear for the TV show, I guess. But we're going to see his wife in the Vale, and she's going to die, and then he's going to eventually marry Lena. And then in the next episode, in the very first teaser we got for this show, we saw Damon sitting at the table. And if you're wondering who becomes Hand of the King after Sir Otto, everybody loves him, Lionel Strong. Lionel Strong is going to be the next Hand of the King. He's basically like the voice of reason in this show, if you're unaware. His son is Larry's the Clubfoot, and his other son is Harwin Breakbones, and he's already on the Small Council. Lionel's already on the Small Council, and we saw Harwin is a member of the City Watch or the Gold Cloaks, which I can't remember if that's in canon, but he's going to be named Rhaenyra's protector very soon. Also, in the teaser for episode 5, we saw a crazy fight break out. It looks like this is the scene where Kristen Cole goes ham on somebody and just keep punching them in the face. And we saw someone push Lena down. Like, what you doing? You can't touch Lena. Yeah, God, I can't. We got to talk about that. I want to jump in the chat, and I only have three more notes to get through. So Rhaenys has Otto. Rhaenys, yes, Rhaenys. Rhaenyra has Sir Otto removed his Hand of the King, and I intentionally put that instead of Viserys doing it because it's literally her command to the king. She's like, you want me to marry Lena? I'm being forced to do it. Okay, then get rid of this nincompoop, Sir Otto Hightower. And if you want to laugh, watch Little Nicky. Rhys Ifans in Little Nicky is hilarious. He plays so Adam Sandler plays the son of the devil, and Rhys Ifans plays his brother. So that's just the setup. I don't want to spoil if you haven't seen it. I used to watch that movie all the time as a little kid and still didn't realize that was Rhys Ifans. That's how different of a character he plays than Lizard from Spider-Man and then Sir Otto Hightower. And then my last couple of notes are Vizzy tells Sir Otto bye-bye, and that's literally straight from the books. And then Melos brings moon tea to Rhaenyra. And I'll have to rewatch Game of Thrones after this. I'm sure everybody's going to rewatch Game of Thrones after this. This is the first time we've seen it. It may have been mentioned, but moon tea is basically an abortion in a bottle. You heard Mello say it. He said if it's brewed properly, it will get rid of any unwanted consequences. Basically meaning like, we know you had sex, or like we think you had sex with your uncle. We don't know it's Kristen Cole. If it was Kristen Cole, and if they find out, Kristen Cole would be killed. He'd be beheaded. That's obviously not going to happen. So they never find that out. They just assume that she slept with someone. They don't know who, so they want to get rid of the baby. That's what that is. Moon tea, one of the ingredients is tansy. And if you read the main Song of Ice and Fire books, in A Storm of Swords, tansy, and the plot line with Catelyn and how her father's dying words, or some of the thing that he says the most, is tansy, and he's like, I'm sorry. He's talking about forcing Lysa Arryn, his daughter, into having an abortion because she was pregnant with Brandon Stark's kid, right? She was initially supposed to marry him, but that doesn't happen. Obviously, Brandon dies. So then Catelyn marries Ned, right? But he forced Lysa to have an abortion, and that's probably also why she's so mentally scarred, because she was forced to have an abortion at such a young age. But the Lord of Riverrun, right, Catelyn's father, he's like senile, but he basically just keeps saying, Tansy, I'm sorry, Tansy. And we find out later on, Tansy is an ingredient in moon tea, and that's what Rhaenyra was given at the end of this episode. And I'm gonna jump in the chat right now, and then we're gonna do this, which is talk about that teaser for episode 5. Let me make sure. All right, cool. All right. So let's see. Oh shit, we got some super chats. Damn, I've missed a bunch of stuff. Let me go all the way back up there. Shout out to everybody still typing in the chat. Why isn't it letting me see any of them? Thank you for that, the Bio Explorer. She says, check PayPal before you leave. I'll check PayPal right now. Sorry, just give me 1 second. Holy shizer. You guys are awesome. Holy shit. I'll say it. Holy shit. That's amazing. Thank you. You guys are awesome. Y'all just secured videos, content for like the. Thank you for the. Thank you. Thank you. Shout out to Breanne Johnson, Cassie Kenny, Debbie Grover, Dennis J. Sorensen, Eva Rodriguez, Jan Spiker, Matthew Vance, Meaty Guter, Shannon Grimes. Oh my God, you guys are fucking awesome. Thank you. That's so cool. Did I miss anybody? Did I miss anybody? It's making it seem like there's. That's crazy. You guys are fucking awesome. Thank you for that super chat, Bio Explorer, and thank you for everybody that just donated to the PayPal. It's like everybody watching right now just gave $1 because that's you guys are amazing, dude. Thank you for literally paying my bills. Let's see. DJ KLY 242 says Julia Dunn. Yes, they just said in the books that they were really close, but it actually makes sense that they would smash. Kristen Cole and Rhaenyra is what this is in reference to. It doesn't. Well, it depends on whose version you're looking at, because Mushroom's version literally says they have sex and that she learns how to do it from Damon, which kind of what happened in this episode, and that Kristen Cole ultimately either wants to steal away with her after they do it, and she turns him down because she's the dragon, she's the heir to the Iron Throne, and she's like the blood of the dragon, or the other way is that her and Damon do it. Damon turns her down. It's convoluted, but what we found out is that it was Kristen Cole and Rhaenyra, and it was a love story. Like, they, over the past couple of episodes, have been falling closer and closer, right? We thought they might have done it the night when she stole away into the forest and he followed after her, but no, she very much controlled the situation. So like I said, it was written very tastefully. It was done very well. Thank you for that comment, DJ KL1. Thank you for everybody who donated on the freaking PayPal. That's amazing. Y'all are fucking awesome. Hey Shelly. What's up, Rico? Did you notice Viserys farted when he laughed? What? No, he didn't. There's no way that I missed that. I just went through all the stuff that I noticed, and I missed him farting when he laughed. You're trolling me. There's no way. No way. Did he really? I didn't fart. That's my chair. My chair is creaky. Is that what y'all are saying? Like making a fart joke? When do Damon and Aemon fight? Season 4, one of the last episodes of the show. I say season 4 because I feel like 4 would be perfect. And Miguel Sapochnik, who's now left the show but worked on it for the entirety of the first season, right? It was always planned. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Miguel leaving was always planned. They haven't outright said that, but it kind of seems like that was always the plan for Miguel to... He was reluctant to come on at first, right? But he said 3 to 4 seasons. Obviously, I think Condal will try to push for more, but I think that'll happen in season 4. There's no way he actually farted. Oh, shit, we got a super chat from the North Must Remember, and he says, anyone generous enough to send PayPal, be sure to add your YouTube screen name in the PP comments, in the PayPal comments. Oh, yes, for shoutouts. Yes, definitely. And I'm probably going to, not probably, I'm going to include everybody that did that at the beginning of the video. Add this to the chair, Sir Hunts. A dagger. A dagger, like a knife. You want me to put a knife on my chair? Oh, like Iron Throne. Shannon Grimes says there's so much more that needs to happen. I worry about how they're going to fit it in the first season. Episode length, and to be honest, the amount of stuff, if you don't include Jaehaerys' reign and, a question of succession and a lack of heirs from Jaehaerys, even though it takes place over 30 years, the contents of what leads to the dance is like an hour in Audible when you listen to it on Audible. And then when you're reading it, it takes you like 20 minutes, not even like 10 minutes to get through that build up to the dance. So what they're doing is incredible. It's incredible. They're adding in some stuff, not a lot. They're changing some stuff around, but it's all been amazing. So when Kondo was saying, like, I'm texting with George all the time, like, hey, I have this idea. Is this cool? He really was not lying, because you can't create the kind of stuff they're doing without the input from the creator. So George is like, yes, put Valyrian glyphs on the titties of the strippers. And we're like, yes, George, yes, do that. Do it on a dick too. Put it on a rock hard dick for anybody who likes dicks. But we want to see it. We want to see it like this. Is so amazing. So amazing. But yeah, I don't have that fear, Shannon. Team Mushroom, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Jenna Marbles, hell yeah. What does that mean, John? What do you mean? You want me to add a knife to the back of the chair? Heart of Inspiration says we're coming back for season 2 at Shannon Grimes, so I don't know how much more they need to do this season. Well, it ends with the dance over Shipbreaker Bay, and I'll say a spoiler warning, just because that's happening very soon. Right. So, do you all notice the relationship between Rhaenyra and Boromir? In the books, Boromir was staunchly supportive of Rhaenys' claim. This is why Rhaenyra says, I'm going to send my younger son Lucerys, not the Prince of Dragonstone, technically second in line for the Iron Throne. So in different times would have been the Prince of Summerhall, perhaps when the Targaryens built that, right? Not the case. One of the Targaryen princelings preferred to be referred to as the Prince of Summerhall because Dragonstone was much too dreary for him. But anyway, Rhaenyra sends Lucerys, who hasn't even been born yet, Harwin Strong's son, sends Lucerys to Storm's End, which is where she just was, which is why we had that scene in this episode. And guess who's already there? Aemond, or the guy with the eye patch from the teasers. And he's basically like, hold, Shaun, you owe me an eye. Pulls out his knife, which in this show, the knife that Aemond will pull out to taunt him, the same knife that he lost his eye with, it's probably going to be the cat's paw dagger. And he may even cut off Lucerys' head with that cat's paw dagger. So that cat's paw dagger is just hungry for blood. We saw the Velaryon glyphs on it. So amazing. From my blood comes the song of ice and fire. This show is getting really good. But yeah, I got super sidetracked there as well. Let's talk about, I'm going to do a couple more things in the chat. And then let's talk about episode 5 teaser. I just heard my son crying out. Hang on one second. You all right? All right, sorry about that. That's more than enough. My internet bill was like 127. Time Warner does this silly thing where they'll lump when you get behind on your bill, they lump the next bill and the current bill behind. But I'm gonna double check right now. I'm pretty sure that's enough to pay it. Yeah, so I have 123.90. Let's see if I'm showing any sensitive information. I don't want to show like my name or my address or anything, but this is how much it shows that I was behind. Past due 123. That bigger number, the 247, was that's a lie. They lumped the next bill with it. So yes, it's gonna be turned on. Thank you. It's amazing. And you sent a super chat to do that. That's awesome. Thank you, Heart of Inspiration. Let's see. Breanne Johnson says, love little Nicky. He's drinking peach schnapps the whole time. Popeye's chicken is the shiznit. I remember we watched that the other night recently, and my girlfriend's like, she's like, how did they get Popeyes to be mentioned in this movie? I'm like, you don't realize how many ad placements there are in every movie? That, like, I had Popeyes maybe once or twice as a kid before then, but then after little Nicky comes out and he's just eating Popeyes the whole time, I was like, dude, this is better than Bojangles, which if you're unaware, wherever you're from, if they don't have Bojangles is like a southern KFC, delicious chicken. Yeah, Bojangles is really good. Actually felt bad for Otto at the end. That's how good of an actor Rhys Ifans is. With just a little bit of facial expression tweaking, he can literally make you feel the complete opposite emotion you just felt for him either an episode ago or a few scenes before that. It's crazy. Yes. Yes, it is. His outfit the whole movie is crazy too, which is such a direct contrast for how serious he is, and not just this, but in most other stuff that he does. I think he's been in some funny movies that came out in the UK, but I haven't personally seen those. Most of the stuff I've seen with him in it, he's played a pretty serious role. Cole's face when he opens the door to the king's room. Yeah, I thought he was going to get in trouble. But then I'm thinking, like, no, that definitely doesn't happen in the books. And if they do something where Cole is the one who Rhaenyra was doing the stuff with, and obviously that's going to affect canon too much. And that's like a slippery slope. You know, you can't. I'm glad they've made the choices they had. Really? You know what? You know why you say that? So the Bio Explorer says, I don't think she takes the moon tea, and Cole will be the father of the first, but she will marry Lena, so the kid's passed off as his. Jacaerys does look a lot like Kristen Cole, but when you look at Harwin, the actor who plays him, Ryan Core, and the actor who plays Jacaerys, Harry Collette, they look even more similar. And as a matter of fact, let me do this. Let's see, Harry Collette. I follow him on Instagram. He's the actor who's playing Jacaerys, right? So that's a really old picture of him. But let's do, this is a recent one, right? So this is Jacaerys. Can you all see that? Y'all can see that, right? All right. And so then I'm going to open another tab and I'm going to type in Ryan Core. And I'm showing you how similar Harwin Strong and Jacaerys look right now. And then we're going to compare how similar he looks to Kristen Cole. Right, so that's Jacaerys. You guys got that picture in your head? All right, so stop that and then share this. This is what Sir Harwin Strong looks like. This is Harwin Strong. So Jacaerys and Harry Collette look pretty similar. When you combine his features, when you combine Jacaerys' features with Rhaenyra's features, Bio Explorer is saying Harry Collette. Who, let's bring Harry Collette up again. Who's playing Jacaerys, the heir to the Iron Throne, right? Let's, after we look at him again, let's bring up a picture of the actor who's playing Kristen Cole. Fabian Frankel. Let me get a close-up of his face. I also follow him on Instagram as well. You know what? Well, you know what? He has Ryan Core's eyes. He doesn't have, and I'm just going to show you instead of just saying it. He doesn't have Kristen Cole's eyes. So I have to look and see. Maybe he has Rhaenyra's eyes. What do you think? Kristen Cole's brown eyes. What do y'all think? That's a good one. That's a good one. We do know for a fact that his father is not Laenor, because Laenor has silver hair. But you could argue because Laenor is half white, like myself, my children could be passing white. Until you look at my son's afro, right? He could be passing white. So when your children are 75% white, like Rhaenyra's kids in this show, they could look fully white, which would be the question of paternage back then, could be even more of a visual distinguishing reason as to why everyone names Rhaenyra treasonous. But, you know, I don't know. That's a really good one. Thank you for that, Bob Explorer. You got my brain going there. All right, so we were hanging out in the chat for a little bit. I'm going to bring up the teaser. I think we're at about 54 minutes and it's perfect. So I'm going to bring up the teaser for episode 5 because, like I said, I believe we got our first look at Mushroom. And he's a brown mushroom, not a white one. But I wonder if he'll have a huge dick like he does in the books. Have we seen Iron Rod? We've seen Jasper Wild, right? Y'all want to know why Iron Rod has that name? He supposedly sired so many children on his wife that he broke her cervix. That's also where I stole that joke from. But he's called Jasper Iron Rod Wild. And he's one of the people on the small council who supports the Greens in the end. So let's go ahead and start this. All right. In the first 5 seconds, we see a shot, no sound. I'm sorry, YouTube will flag this and HBO will get all of the ad revenue from this. I don't know if it's monetized anyway. It doesn't matter. First 5 seconds, we get a shot of the Velaryon fleet arriving in King's Landing for Rhaenyra's wedding. So, Damon was exiled, but he's coming right back for Rhaenyra's wedding because we've seen Damon in shots sitting at the table, and we see fights break out. So this is nuts. First 5 seconds, first 2 seconds, shots of the Velaryon fleet. That is Melees and Sea Smoke, and we've actually seen shots of Melees and Sea Smoke from the trailer that's called. It was the last trailer they released before episode 1 premiered. I can't remember what it's called, like Reign of the Dragon or something, but it was an actual teaser trailer. It's got a lot of shots from the later half of the season. And we see Viserys arriving to go and greet Laenor and Corlys. That was Rhaenyra behind him. And then this right here coming up, Mushroom. There he is. Look at you, little bastard. You little big dick bastard, motherfudger. And this is what's crazy. Someone commented on my video like 3 months ago, or I'm sorry, 3 weeks ago and said, hey, Sir Hunts, there's a prophecy on that dagger if you look at it. There was no one knew that yet. And then also someone commented on one of my videos and said, Mushroom's playing the drums at Rhaenyra's wedding. You're welcome. I don't know who did that. If it's someone who's working on the show, thank you. Please continue to do that because it's always funny. I read every single comment. I don't respond to them, but I do something better and I make a video on them. Like I just made a video on them. I do one every week based on the episode where I take people's comments and I answer it in a video. But someone literally commented, anyway, this is Mushroom. Maybe not. Maybe it is. He looks like he's playing the drums. I thought the guy Samwell who was playing the Eye of the Dragon song might have been Mushroom, but this dude is an actual dwarf. And he's at Rhaenyra's wedding, and we might have seen him in the background, and I just missed it. All right, and then we have another shot of the Velaryon fleet arriving. That extra gold ship right there, that is a shot of the Sea Snake. And if you're unaware, that is how Corlys gets his name. He's called the Sea Snake because he's named after his most famous ship. I mean, the Ice Wolf is famous, and he took it north. And I mean, a few of his other ships are famous, but the Sea Snake is his most marvelous ship. And that's probably why that's the one where he gets his nickname from, because of how marvelous the ship is. And we're getting a small portion of it, and it's like this gold-plated. It's probably much bigger than all the other Velaryon vessels. It's probably even bigger than Rhaenyra's ship that we saw in this last episode where she's taking, where she was going to Storm's Inn. I've said this 1,000 times. I know everybody always says this. Corlys Velaryon made House Velaryon way more rich than they were. They were already pretty rich because they're like a higher up house in Westeros, but not as rich as they are. Which, as of right now, before the dance begins, they're the richest house in Westeros, richer even than House Hightower and House Lannister. And the reason why is because in one trip, I think it was Corlys's 8th voyage, maybe his 9th one, right? He doubles the wealth of House Velaryon by bringing back a bunch of rare goods to Westeros. So when they have his show come out, if it comes out, we're going to get to see some of these journeys that he went on. And this ship, the Sea Snake, we might get an extended scene or extended scenes with it to show how badass it looks. And maybe we'll see different iterations of how when Corlys was riding in the Ice Wolf up north to go and see what was around the wall in the Shivering Sea and trying to look for a passage west of Westeros or something like that. Maybe we'll see how the Ice Wolf inspired eventually the design of the Sea Snake. I don't know. I'm a ship nerd because I played Assassin's Creed, the Greek one, where a lot of it was naval battles, and it was really fun. Then we have Rhaenyra, and Damon is over here on the left. I don't know if we can see him because I just paused it and I've only watched this once, but Damon is in this scene on the left. So even though he just got banished, he's right back, stuck in the middle with you. Oh, yeah, there we go. Melees and Sheep Stealer. Oh, Sheep Stealer. What am I talking about? Sea Smoke. That's my dragon. I can't believe I just misnamed my dragon. I'm sorry, Sea Smoke. I'll holler at you later. That was me. Y'all may not know this, but I was the stunt double for... I'm just kidding. I'm lying. I'm saying it so much now, people might actually believe me. But yeah, I thought I kind of looked like the dude. I think I look more like John McMillian, who's the one who plays the older version of Laenor, which we'll be seeing him in a couple episodes. So yeah, right there, bottom left, sea smoke, and then up on the top right, that's Melee's the Red Queen, not Caraxes. Melee's the Red Queen has like bronzish pink highlights on its wings, and then it's also mostly scarlet. So that's more of a regalisk typing looking dragon than Caraxes, even though Caraxes is all red too. Melee's is red as well, but Melee's will be differentiated by probably having more of a scarlet type of color pattern, like it's described in the books. More so than Caraxes. Caraxes is deformed long neck boy, but that's sea smoke there on the bottom left. All right, and she looks like they're flying just in front of or behind Corlys and House Velaryon's fleet. Oh wow, gorgeous! Look at that. I didn't realize we got this much footage of Melee's the Red Queen and the bronze highlights on the wings. Look at Sea Smoke. Sea Smoke is like a white version of Drogon. Rhaenyra is watching them arrive. Rhaenyra should be really happy with her choice, and she just doesn't realize it yet, but she's going to be really happy with not her choice, her forced, the thing that's forced upon her. And then we have a shot of Corlys and his wife, Rhaenys, and this is, if I'm not mistaken, from the initial teaser that they released. We have the Lannisters arriving like some gosh darn cat warging pimps. If you want to know more about my Lannisters are wargs theory, go to YouTube and type in Sir Hunt Cersei, and it's a live stream that I did 6 months before. It might have even been last year, but I went up for like 45 minutes talking about how crazy Cersei is in her POVs, and I'm all over the place in that live stream. So spoilers if you never read the Song of Ice and Fire books. But the Lannisters, oh man. Tyland and Jason, right? So the guy with the longer hair up front, Tyland, Jason, Tyland is the one with the shorter hair, and he's the one on the small council. And he ends up becoming someone known as the Hooded Hand. And this is the guy that we saw doing the Tyrion accent with the wine cup that was kind of creeping on Rhaenyra. And then also that's Lady Cara behind him. They're making their entrance. And then we have Kristen Cole walking up to, looks like he's going to kneel in front of Alicent. Oh, wait, no. Wow. So it looks like Laenor's companions are the one who get into a scuffle, and then it looks like Kristen is bringing up his sword to do that, but then he's not. It's a deception. That's in a different scene. This right here. This is in a different scene. He's talking to Alicent privately in her quarters because you can see that that's Viserys' solar because there's that Valyrian dragon snake ancestral image behind him. But yeah, so this right here though, this is Laenor's lovers, Sir Joffrey Lonmouth and perhaps another boy that Laenor is fancying, and they're fighting each other. Yes, that's exactly what's happening. Okay. So the guy who's supposed to get married is making his side hoes jealous, and it looks like they can't control their wine. So there's going to be a bit of a scuffle. And let's be fair, no Westerosi wedding, just like a Dothraki wedding, is boring unless a few people die or some blood is drawn. And this is in King's Landing, in the Red Keep, in front of what appears to be maybe, is it in front of the Iron Throne? I couldn't tell. Blood has to be drawn though, just to make it fun, right? We have a house, Velaryon guardsman. Is he trying to manhandle Harwin Strong? Is that what that? Yes, Harwin Strong looks like he punches. It looks like everybody gets too drunk and there's a big fight scene because someone poisons the wine with angry juice. What do y'all think? Is that what happened? Is that a good summarization? All right, so continuing it on, because I'm like getting my thoughts together for when I make this promo breakdown, but I'm doing it live. So y'all see this is how I do it. All right. So it looks like Kristen does get his hands dirty, but again, that's a separate scene because look at the background. It's not the mural with the Targaryen dragon incest or sex. Skipped ahead a little bit. Yeah, he's punching. He probably is taking out his frustration on maybe Laenor. Maybe he's doing that to Laenor himself because Laenor did something out of pocket. And he's like, oh, this is my chance to fuck up the guy who's supposed to marry the person that I love, right? Alicent's looking. This is that same scene that she had with Chris and Cole. And then we have Corlys. This is at high tide. We have Damon in the Vale with the short hair before he goes back for Rhaenyra's wedding. He's walking up to meet his wife, Rhea Royce. We've seen images of her in leaked pictures. She's wearing like this brown leathern armor. And it looks like the king's infection has taken on a new... He might lose this entire arm. I think that's what's going to happen. And then we have Rhaenyra and Kristen Cole watching the Velaryons arrive. That was a clip from the fighting. Oh, and look, we're getting the death of Rhea Royce. We literally saw her die in the trailer. Did they not think we'd catch this? This is Damon's wife, Rhea Royce, falling off her horse because Damon shows up. That's Damon in front with the hood. Maybe Damon kills her himself. I thought Damon was going to steal a dragon egg to hire the Facelessman to kill Rhea Royce. Obviously, I'm wrong, and that's not happening. And it looks like Damon gets his hands dirty and does it himself. That's amazing. Jeez, I love this show so much. Does anybody else have to pause the show, go jerk it, and then come back and keep watching it because they just get too excited? I don't, but I think someone might. I'm not saying I do, but I think some people might. Whatever. Corny attempt at a joke there. And then we have Alicent looking out at the Velaryons with that carriage. There's a lot of white hair down there. Those might be the Baratheons. I see some yellow. I don't know if you guys can even see my mouse, but no, you can't. So there's some yellow dudes down there right in front of the battlements, right by the moat or the entrance to King's Landing, or the Red Keep, rather. All right, and then the last couple scenes of this teaser. Alicent talking with her father, Sir Otto. She's basically, this is where Sir Otto is leaving, and he's saying, do whatever you have to do to make sure Aegon is the heir. But don't worry, spoilers, Sir Otto comes back as the Hand of the King before Viserys dies, because he's the Hand of the King when Viserys dies, and he makes his grandson, spoilers, not really. Book's been out since 2018. The show might do it differently. Spoilers, still now. All right, you ready? Sir Otto makes Aegon 2 the king. And that's going to happen in like episode 8 or 9. Probably 9, because the actual last episode is going to show the battle above God's Eye. All right, let's hop back in the chat, and then I need to start making this video. We have 222 people watching right now. That is fucking amazing. And also, thank you so much to everybody who donated through PayPal. That's amazing. Let me give everybody another shout out. That's so awesome. My internet literally would have been cut off without you guys. So y'all fucking rock. It's weird that the app's not giving me notifications. Like I have to open the app to get the notifications, and I have the notifications turned on. So that is so weird. Not sure. Thank you to Breanne Johnson, Cassie Kenny, Debbie Grover, Dennis Sorensen, Eva Rodriguez, Heart of Inspiration, Jan Spijker, Matthew Vance, Meaty Guther, and Rafael Luna. That's awesome. You guys are amazing. Amazing. Thank you. For real. I can't wait to see Maylee's up close. Me either. Let's go back to that clip where we got to see her wings, the extended. Look at that. Maylee's, you know what? Maylee's has the traditional Drogon design, but is red. Maylee's might be my new favorite looking dragon. Caraxes is long neck boy, don't get me wrong, but Maylee's is gorgeous. And also, the person riding Rhaenys with the crack of the whip, and she knew she was gonna, she knows that death is certain, and she just. And also, I made a mistake. In my last video, I said that Rhaenys doesn't wear battle armor in the books. That is so not the case. She wears steel and copper battle armor, which adds to how awesome she looks. She wears it into battle. She wears it. It's a thing. And I straight up was like, no, she doesn't. And the fact that I was so adamant about her not wearing it just lets you know that every time, even though I've read it 6 times, I still miss stuff. And that's why I keep reading it, because every time I read it, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense now. Like, for instance, I thought that Rhaenys didn't wear armor, but she did. And I know I've mentioned that before. Good job. Glad you're back and enjoy your crossover with the gentleman from the UK. Yes, Robert from Indie Geek is the man. Make sure you all go check out his channel. I'm sure you guys, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you've seen that me and him have been collabing for years. And then also last week here on my channel, I had my boy Ray on, and I started YouTube with him, and we discussed episode 3 live. And then JB just said, me and Robert from Indie Geek went live for a couple hours, almost 3 hours. I think it was like 2.5 hours on his channel. So make sure you go check that out. I'll try and link that in the chat, or I'll pin a comment to it down below. Whose dragon is that? That is Rhaenys. If you're unaware who Rhaenyra was talking to in the very first episode, where they were talking about Corlys's wife, right? So, but she's having a conversation with Rhaenyra, and Rhaenyra basically tells her, no, the realm didn't choose you, Rhaenys, and that's why she's known as the queen who never was, is because she skipped over once, and then both of her kids are skipped over. So House Velaryon keeps getting scorned, which is part of the reason why Corlys wanted to ally with Braavos to probably secure the trading routes better, and he used Lena as a marriage pact with the son of the Sea Lord of Braavos, who, like I was just mentioning a few hours ago, squanders away his family's fortune, and he's an embarrassment to that Braavosi family. Once the Sea Lord of Braavos dies, the kid's father, who's married to or betrothed to Lena, and then we just saw Damon killing his wife. Damon also probably kills this dude in the duel in the books, the son of the Sea Lord of Braavos, who's betrothed to Lena. But whose dragon is this? Right here, the big girl right here with the red scarlet wings. That is Corlys Velaryon's wife, Meleys. The dragon's name is Meleys, but the person who rides it is Rhaenys. And then over there, back there, that's my boy Sea Smoke. Laenor rides that dragon. Yes. And that's in the video. I literally said, I don't think she wears armor in the books, and I pinned a comment correcting myself. No, she totally does. She wears steel and copper armor. Like I said, every time I read it, I pick up something that I missed last time. And I'm currently on my 7. I'm most of the way finished with Game of Thrones, the first book, which starts my 7th reread. And then I'm always listening to parts of Fire and Blood over and over again. So I don't 6 times all the way through for Fire and Blood, just like the rest of the books in the Game of Thrones series. But Fire and Blood, I've listened to it so much, I don't even know how many times I've gone back to listen to the Sons of the Dragon or the Regency of Aegon III, because I love Sandok the Shadow, and I love what happens with Unwin Peak, and how if you think Sir Otto, there's some questionable hands of the kings, and that's one of my favorite. I don't know. I just like listening to Fire and Blood. It's like a history book. Mark, what's one major thing from the book that you think the Maesters lied about and will be different in the show? What do you mean? What's one major thing from the book that you think the Maesters lied about and will be different in the show? Let me do this. I'll do you one. I'll do you one better. I just did a video called Gray Rats, and it's 13 minutes, and it can do a way better job explaining it. But I don't talk about the theory the whole video. It's the first one I talk about. Oh, I have it screen shared still. So this one right here. But yeah. So hang on, let me stop sharing that. So the Maesters, one thing they lied about. I mean, they're currently poisoning the king, and they're lying about not poisoning the king. If we go by 3 different accounts in Fire and Blood, right? If we believe their version, then technically Aegon 2 is not as guilty as Mushroom would have us believe. So, for instance, something specific, I mean, it's kind of hard. Aegon didn't have an underage whore sucking him off while he was watching 2 other girls do it, like go at each other, right? That probably didn't happen. That probably did happen, and the Maester said it didn't, and they lied about it. I mean, are you talking for just Fire and Blood? Like, are you talking just House of the Dragon, or you mean everything in general? Like, if you mean everything in general, then the Maesters right now, and I talked about this in Robert's live stream, so this will be fun. Maester Marwyn, Sam gets to the Citadel on a Feast for Crows, right? Then we don't hear about Sam again until Jon thinks about him in A Dance with Dragons. But it's weird because Sam is still at the wall in the beginning of A Dance with Dragons. So it's kind of like a back jump in time. Sam makes it to the Citadel, and we find out about Marwyn the Mage at the end of A Feast for Crows. But there's certain things that happens between Jon and Sam at the wall, and in Jon's POV in the beginning of A Dance with Dragons, Sam is still at the wall. So anyway, at the end of A Feast for Crows, Sam makes his way to the Citadel after this really long journey. He has threats from pirates and corsairs. He's got seasickness. Freaking Mr. Aemon dies on the way down there. This dude Darian squanders all their money. Arya kills him. They think they're going to get stranded in Bravos, but eventually he makes his way. And then also he's scared of his dad. And he's like, if I have to stop by, if I have to go see my dad, he'll kill me, because that's literally what he said the last time. And he's thinking about leaving Gilly there. But anyway, he ends up making it to the Citadel, and he goes and talks to this dude named Alaris. Basically, it's one of Oberyn's daughters in disguise, pretending to be a boy, taking classes and trying to learn to be a maester and forge different links of a maester's chain, right? And before Sam gets there, Aemon, not Aemon One-Eye, but Aemon, the blonde guy from the Game of Thrones TV show, he doesn't actually die at the wall. He dies on the way to the Citadel with Sam on a ship, and his body is stored in a cask of rum because they don't have nowhere to keep him on the ship. None of that happens in the TV show. But anyway, Sam he's got a lot of shit that happens to him on that journey, because also when Aemon hears about Daenerys and how she's brought dragons back, Aemon starts to feel better. So anyway, Sam is experiencing all this stuff that he's never experienced before, and he's way more afraid on this journey than he was at the wall when he was fighting the White Walkers in the cold and the fear of running out of food and being north of the wall. And he's like, oh God, it's poor Sam. He's been through so much. But when he finally gets to the Citadel and he goes and talks to this dude named Maester Marwyn, Maester Marwyn basically tells him that the Grey Rats would kill Daenerys if it was up to them. So Marwyn says, I want to go to Daenerys myself. Don't tell, basically like, watch your back when you're here. The Maesters are up to something. So relating back to your question, when you ask me something, one major thing from the book, do you mean the Song of Ice and Fire books, or do you mean Fire and Blood? I just answered it either way. So directly from Fire and Blood, it could be certain salacious rumors that Mushroom says about Aegon are actually true, and the Maesters lied about that. From the books, the Maesters could have lied about the process that, and this is kind of a theory, it hasn't been confirmed, right? But everybody has this theory when you find out what happens at the tragedy at Summerhall and Aegon the Unlikely trying to bring back dragons. Basically, when Egg grows up from the Dunk and Egg books, or the Hedge Knight series, the Night of the Seven Kingdoms, right? There's been 3 books for that so far that George has written, and there's also going to be a spinoff TV show. Eventually, when the kid in those books grows up, he gets obsessed with bringing dragons back into the world. And the Maesters were involved, in my opinion, with bringing back dragons, and they probably intentionally told Aegon Aegon the Unlikely the wrong thing, and it caused the tragedy at Summerhall, which, if you're unaware, that event directly is where Rhaegar was born at. So I think that Duncan the Tall saw Aegon the Unlikely about to sacrifice Rhaegar and Rhaegar's mother and everybody close to him in order to bring back dragons. And this part, I think, is my theory. I haven't read it anywhere or seen it anywhere, right? I think Aegon the Unlikely saw Daenerys walk out of Khal Drogo's funeral pyre with the 3 dragons around her body, right? And he was like, oh, that's me. I got to kill all of my people. And then I'll walk out of this fire with dragons on me. And he had dragon eggs. And dragon eggs are still a thing, or are a thing in the books. For instance, there's a dragon egg in the Mystery Knight, which is the 3rd book. And there's a whole plot about it with Bloodraven. So, yeah, you should definitely go read those. I think they lied about how to bring back dragons. And they caused a large number of Targaryens to die, including Aegon the Unlikely. Sir Duncan the Tall ends up dying there because he probably goes back in to try to save more people and dies in the fire. He probably kills Aegon the Unlikely because Aegon is willing to sacrifice. And maybe the Maesters corrupted him. Also, you have in the actual like Game of Thrones timelines, Archmaester Pycelle, Grandmaester Pycelle is probably poisoning the Mad King because initially when Aerys 2 starts out, the Mad King, Daenerys' dad, Rhaegar's dad, Jon Snow's grandpa, right? When he starts out, he's not the Mad King. He goes mad over time. He's actually got a lot of prospect, and people think he's going to be a really good king. He's a talented warrior. He doesn't have the same lust that Aegon the Fat is who I call him. He's basically Aegon the Bastard. He legitimized all of his children. He's the Aegon who's king after Aegon the Third. So he's Aegon the Fourth, but then before Aegon the Unlikely, who I was just talking about with the tragedy at Summerhall. So I think I answered this question. I think I'm going on a bunch of side tangents. So, yeah, the Maesters probably lied about that. My grandma read the Bible all the way through many, many times and said the same thing. She saw different things each time. So these people that tried to make literal need to read more. Yeah, I haven't read the Bible in years, but the Bible is like the highest selling fantasy book of all time. I was forced to read it as a kid. But yeah, of course, any kind of in-depth book like that you know, and with Game of Thrones, with the Song of Ice and Fire books, there's 5 of them, and then you also have World of Ice and Fire, Fire and Blood, and then you have the novella, you know what I mean? So Princess and the Queen, the Rogue Prince, and then some people even go as far as to reading George's other books outside of A Song of Ice and Fire, like the Ice Dragon, to try to relate that to this universe. So yeah, it's a lot. But yeah, you'll always learn something new. I don't know, and I didn't like that either. I don't like how she said, what are you, some queer Valyrian? She basically called Rhaenyra gay. She's like, you queer? You guys have queer custom. Yeah, but you married her dad. I don't know. That scene made me like Alicent like 5 to 10 points less. And if you watch my videos, not Emily Carey, that's just how good of an actress she is, but the character Alicent, younger Alicent, just went down by like 5 points. You tripping. What do you mean queer? Like, you realize your son, and she doesn't realize this yet, but your son is going to marry his sister. So what do you mean by Targaryen queer? Like, first of all, your son is Targaryen. Second of all, he's going to marry your daughter. So I bet you're going to be eating those words with some cake on the side, too. Dude, I know what queer means. Do you really think you needed to explain that? Yes. For the most part, yes. And it's probably going to be confirmed for this show. Team Blackfire. Why is that? Are you talking about the blanket back there? That is a Targaryen logo. And also, a Targaryen is a Targaryen, whether black or red. Doesn't matter. But these blankets right here, this one right here, and then that one right there was made by a longtime subscriber and Patreon of mine, Nancy Tockstein. She's amazing. She gave me these in person at a at a convention for Con of Thrones. She made them. It's awesome. Right. Oh, you guys are talking about stuff in the chat. Cool. I hope you like it. I think it's the first. I think I talk about it the first couple of minutes because I answer a bunch of questions in that video, but it's the first chunk of the video. It's not the whole thing though. Thank you. I'm glad you watched it. Okay, so that's actually a good question. The reason why is because in Westeros, much like in Dorne, well, no, I'm sorry, Dorne is kind of thought about the same way as the Valyrians, right? So this will be one of the last questions I answer before I get out of here because I really got to start working on the video for tomorrow. So Targaryens themselves, Valyrians, I keep saying Targaryens, but Valyrians themselves didn't actually have a religion. The Valyrians who rode dragons or just were of the blood, right? And they may not have been able to ride dragons, but they were just of the blood. So that means they had the white, gold, silver hair and purple eyes in the books, all different types of shades of purple, right? Those features stand out. Valyrians have those. Because of that, they thought themselves as gods. This is why they named themselves after gods. This is why they named their dragons after gods. The fact that they have the ability to commune with a power as awesome as dragons makes them think that they're better than everybody else. So their traditions, such as marrying themselves and keeping the dragon riding ability in their family, is considered okay because they're not mortal and normal men. Right. So they are above everybody else so they can do different things. So their traditions and customs, although they may seem queer and weird to everybody else, it's okay for them to do it. And Anastasia was saying, like, why is it more celebrated? Because in Westeros, they don't have that. In Dorne, you're allowed to have a paramour. Also, if you're gay, it's actually, they don't care. Like, whatever you do on your own time. Just make sure you do your duty, like, producing air. But if you're gay, it's not that big of a deal as it is in Westeros. And even in Westeros, for the most part, it's kind of like kept behind closed doors. But they still refer to Dornish customs and traditions like eating spicy food and openly having paramours everywhere and not treating people who you have like your bastards, not treating them terribly. They think that's weird. So Westerosi society is always sort of looking at things as weird. And that's why they haven't accepted Targaryen custom, mainly because Targaryens have only ruled over them for like 115 years at this point. 130 years by the time the dance kicks off. Me too. But we got a hint of it when Kristen Cole came into Rhaenyra's room and was very formal and didn't immediately like sort of embrace her and like smile at her. That's what's going to happen. Their formality and their jobs are going to make the wedge in between them because he's too low of a station to be with her. And he's not the type to be able to watch her be with other people, sort of like what Jaime did with King Robert and still sleep with Cersei. Kristen Cole is not, which I 100%, I'd be the same way. You can't watch the person do that. So he's going to say, can we steal away? You want to go run away? You have a dragon. My skills are good enough with a mace and with a, I can get some lord over there in Essos where your father's writ does not extend, right? Where your father's rule, where he doesn't have any control over us. Let's run away and go over there. And I can pay our way by my skill at arms, right? And she, according to Mushroom in the books, she tells Kristen Cole no, and that's what drives the wedge in between them. Also, it could be that Rhaenyra comes to Kristen Cole and Kristen Cole turns her down, but it seems like it's going to be the other way around. Kristen Cole's going to be the lover boy, going to come to Rhaenyra and be like, hey, you want to run away? And she's going to be like, nah, I have a dragon. I can't do that. But you can be my protector and we can still sleep with each other. I just have to do this formal thing, like be married. And he's like, oh, that's not okay. I'm not down with that. And then he switches to Alicent's side. Yup. Hell yeah. Yes, please do. Oh, I think she's wearing some underneath that cloak in the initial sorry about that. Hit the like button, please, please, please. Yes, I think Rhaenyra might be wearing some battle armor. If Rhaenys is wearing it, why would she not wear it? Maybe Rhaenyra will don it when she goes to take King's Landing, or well, that's really it because she doesn't really participate in any battles unless the show changes it, which they probably will. Did anyone like, this will be the last question that I answer for this live stream. Did anyone like the foreshadow and poetic writing of the scene of Damon in bed talking with Lady Misery? I didn't really like that. I'm going to need to rewatch that because I think she poisoned him. BioExplorer says, I liked when the king said both Rhaenyra and Damon had dragon blood and were chaotic by nature. Yes, but chaotic together. Sometimes you can only get so crazy. So when you have people so crazy, right, and they're ultimately going to be checked because Rhaenyra isn't chaotic. Rhaenyra is a kid. She's still doing what, rebellious youth do. Damon is a grown man kind of doing that. But ultimately, he gets older and wiser, and he's a battle commander. And the greatest asset to Rhaenyra's side, when he takes Harrenhal, no one dies. He takes it successfully. He even has hostages, which is a really good thing because you can trade them for your people when they become hostages in the war. Damon knows how to play the game. Damon's the man. Damon might be acting out, but it's because his brother Viserys is such a bitch. He has to remind everyone, this is how we do it. No. This is how we, like, for real. He's telling everybody, this is how we do it. This is how the Targaryens are supposed to do it. But everybody's just like, oh, you're crazy, dude. What's wrong with you, man? Quit acting out. But yeah. All right. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for donating to PayPal and literally paying my internet bill because it was going to be cut off. So thank you for doing that. Thank you, every single member of my Patreon family, which I actually don't have the thing. Oh, wait, but I'd have to take myself out of the thing to do that. Thank you for watching right now. Thank you to every single member of my Patreon family over on patreon.com/HuntReviews. And thank you for watching this if you're rewatching it after it's live. Feel free to leave a comment down below. I'm always going to read it. I'll try to respond to it. And if I can't, I'll probably put it in a video. Also, I'm going to start doing live streams where I just answer a bunch of questions too, because I feel like that'd be really, really fun. That'll be like my pregame one for the next episode. Shout out to everybody. Thank you for watching. My name is Mark. Long night. Zaldriza spostare ixos adaor. Thank you again to every single person who donated to PayPal. You guys are fucking amazing. Thank you. Long night.